After tomatoes, carrots are the second most popular vegetable in Germany. For this short film, we visited one of the largest carrot growers in the country and documented their autumn field work and processing work. The Gemüsebau Großhans farm business was established by agricultural engineer Carsten Großhans in the 1990s in Reilingen, to the south of Mannheim in Germany. He still manages the business to this day with the help of his family. His son Dennis already works full-time in the business. He studied horticultural science and is very involved in the field work. Carrot growing has become an important mainstay of the Gemüsebau Großhans business over the past few years. Harvesting usually runs 6 days a week from June until March, even during the winter. The carrots are predominantly lifted early in the morning or late in the evening in order to retain their freshness and protect them from sunburn. During the summer, the carrots are top-lifted from the ground by the leaves. However, the later the harvest gets into autumn and winter, the weaker the foliage, so then they have to switch to a main web system. In this case, they're harvesting organic carrots, which reach their limit for the top-lifting technique even earlier in the year. So they switch to a two-phase harvest, whereby they remove the leaf residues with a mulcher beforehand. Dennis is working here with a Valtra N174 Direct. Most of the farm's 30 tractors have a continuously variable transmission like this one. Many of their tasks require a very precisely coordinated speed, which also happens to be in the low single figures much of the time. Valtra's 4-cylinder N series covers the 135 to 165 horsepower performance range. Depending on the model, it can also mobilize a good amount of additional power via the boost function. The carrots are sown at a seed rate of 1.5 to 2 million grains per hectare using a single grain seed drill. The row spacing is 50 centimeters. Depending on the time of year, they harvest between 60 and 100 tons per hectare, although they count on around 20% less for organic carrots, as we can see here. In the winter, they use straw to protect the carrots from frost. The square bales are baled on their own fields and put into storage. Recently, they've been using a Valtra G135 for this task. Thanks to its front loader, the tractor is used for multiple functions on the farm, in addition to this one. The G series is also used for a few other light field jobs. Carrots are grown on around 14,000 hectares in Germany. Organic production accounts for around 2,800 hectares. At Gemüsebau Großhans, their carrot production enterprise developed gradually and took off after they constructed their first packaging plant in 2004. Today, the ultra-modern plant has a capacity of up to 200 tons per day. To begin with, the crop is washed. They are currently working on plans for a water treatment plant that will reuse up to 95% of the water in future. Next, the carrots undergo quality control, which is largely automated. After that, they reach the packaging stage. The customer determines how the carrots are graded, packaged and presented. Depending on the season, the orange roots go from field to shelf within 24 hours. 80 to 90% of the harvested crop meets the high demands of consumers and makes its way from here to the shelves of food retailers across the country. Dennis and his girlfriend Tanita, who also studied horticultural science, are proud of the progress they've made in organic production. They believe there is still potential in this area and are keen to develop their offering further. Gemüsebau Großhans farms around 800 hectares conventionally and around 150 hectares organically. A large proportion of their land is leased and is located up to 40 kilometers away from their premises. In addition to traditional arable crops, the farm's specialized crops such as carrots, radishes, potatoes and onions are what set it apart. Parsnips, as you can see here being harvested by one of the farm's 4 self-propelled harvesters, are a niche product, but one that they grow on a few hectares here. From an arable standpoint, the farm's proximity to the Rhine brings its own opportunities and challenges. The closer the fields are to the river, the heavier the soil and the harder it is to drive over. The ability to drive over the fields is a decisive factor for production, especially for a vegetable farm that sometimes sows its carrots during the first few days of January. The further you get from the Rhine, the sandier the soil becomes, which makes it easier to cultivate throughout the year. In order to extend the crop rotation and to make it more diverse, especially in view of the farm's highly nutrient-draining crops such as potatoes and carrots, they also grow cereals. Whenever they carry out mulch seeding, they use this 6-meter Horsch Pronto pulled by a Valtra T-series. Here, in viewing distance of the Speyer Cathedral, they're sowing organic spelt. Team member Slavik has been working for Gemüsebau Großhans for over 10 years. In addition to 30 full-time employees in agriculture, production and administration, the company employs around 1,000 seasonal workers throughout the year. Bunched onions are particularly labour-intensive and can only be mechanized to a limited degree. They also train young apprentices, of course. This Valtra tractor is a T234 Direct. It's the second most powerful model in the series, which the Finnish tractor manufacturer also offers in 3 PowerShift variants: High-Tech, Active and Versu, in addition to the continuously variable direct transmission. At the beginning of this year, another T-Series was delivered to Großhans. As well as its RTK guidance system, they also rely on the tractor's technical solutions, such as section control and variable rate control, in order to regulate application rates when sowing and applying plant protection products and fertilizer. On smaller fields, and usually after the plough, they use this agile yet powerful front-rear combination for sowing. Ingo is a long-standing employee of Großhans and is responsible for various work processes out in the field, as well as in replacement parts procurement. Since they grow vegetables at Großhans, the majority of the fields are ploughed. However, the carrots, for example, are planted via mulch seeding, depending on the field, and for radishes and onions, they've had some success using a deep cultivator instead of the plough. On this field, they're sowing rye. For most of their vegetable sowing, on the other hand, they rely on specialist seed drills from Italy. These images mark the end of what has been an interesting day of filming at Gemüsebau Großhans in the northwest of Baden-Württemberg, Germany. You can find more information about the farm on their website. And at farmworld.tv, you'll find a wide range of in-depth documentaries about farming and farm machinery around the world.